Hi, I'm George and I'm in Sharks. Last night's Zoom session was brilliant. Now we get to learn about Jesus being the light of the world and how this was shown in John's Gospel. Also coming up, we have an exciting activity with Bryn, so make sure you stay tuned for that.
Hey Sharks, so for today's activity we are going to do Smash It! Now, what you need is 2 to 3 sachets of instant mashed potato. We would recommend using less water than the packet says, about half. You will need some recording equipment. We've got a very handy camera person, Kerry. And the other thing you will need is a bit of imagination. So what you're going to do, you're going to make your favourite animal, you're going to explain why it's your favourite animal, and then when you're done, you're going to get a nice strong hand and smash it down. You will get points for style, size, and smash on a 5-star scale. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to make the Pebble Toad. And we've got 30 seconds on the timer.
30 seconds on the timer.
And we'll explain why while I make it. So the Pebble Toad is in the South American rainforest, ladies and gentlemen. And its defense mechanism is it finds a big hill and it rolls down. There you go, lovely face. Bit of legs, needs a bit more size. And it will literally tense its whole body and fall down a cliff. In the hopes that whatever it can fall faster than the predator can chase it. There you go, 2 legs right there, absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Take a look at that.
Time to smash.
Absolutely gorgeous. You ready?
I'm reading from the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 12, and chapter 9, verse 1 to 34. When Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." As he went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" "Neither this man nor his parents sinned," said Jesus, "but this happened so that the work of God might be displayed in his life. As long as it is day, we must do the work of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I'm in the world, I am the light of the world." Having said this, he spat on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and put it on the man's eyes. "Go," he told him, "wash in the pool of Siloam." This word means sent. So the man went and washed and came home seeing. His neighbours and those who had formerly seen him begging asked, "Isn't this the same man who used to sit and beg?" Some claimed that he was. Others said, "No, he only looks like him." But he himself insisted, "I am the man." "How then were your eyes opened?" they demanded. He replied, "The man they called Jesus made some mud and put it on my eyes. He told me to go to Siloam and wash, so I went and washed, and then I could see." "Where is this man?" they asked him. "I don't know," he said. They brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. Now the day on which Jesus had made the mud and opened the man's eyes was a Sabbath. Therefore the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. "He put mud on my eyes," the man replied, "and I washed, and now I see." Some of the Pharisees said, "This man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath." But others asked, "How can a sinner do such marvelous signs?" So they were divided. Finally, they turned again to the blind man. "What have you to say about him? It was your eyes he opened." The man replied, "He is a prophet." The Jews still did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they sent for the man's parents. "Is this your son?" they asked. "Is this the one you say was born blind? How is it that now he can see?" "We know he is our son," the parents answered, "and we know he was born blind. But how he can see now, or who opened his eyes, we don't know. Ask him. He is of age. He will speak for himself." His parents said this because they were afraid of the Jews. For already the Jews had decided that anyone who acknowledged that Jesus was the Christ would be put out of the synagogue. That was why his parents said, "He is of age, ask him." A second time they summoned the man who had been blind. "Give glory to God," they said. "We know this man is a sinner." He replied, "Whether he is a sinner or not, I don't know. One thing I do know. I was blind, but now I see." Then they asked him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" He answered, "I have told you already, and you did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too?" Then they hurled insults at him and said, "You are this fellow's disciple. We are disciples of Moses. We know that God spoke to Moses, but as for this fellow, we don't even know where he comes from." The man answered, "Now that is remarkable. You don't know where he comes from, yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners. He listens to the godly man who does his will. Nobody has ever heard of opening the eyes of a man born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." To this they replied, "You were steeped in sin at birth. How dare you lecture us?" And they threw him out. Jesus heard that they had thrown him out.
Well, with me this afternoon, I have brought my trusty torch. Now, some of you might be thinking, Charlie, you really have lost the plot. You brought a torch out in the middle of the day in the sun. But if the lights go out inside my house, my torch will be so important for me. It will guide me and keep me safe from any harm that I might come across. Light is so important for us to survive. Without light, we can't see. And if we can't see, then we can't really do anything. You might be a little bit like Maggie. Maggie is still quite scared of the dark in the middle of the night and has a dream light on which helps her to sleep better. Light is what we need every day of our lives. And in today's passage, Jesus says that he is the light of the world. So we're going to see a little bit more about what he means by that. Firstly, what does Jesus even mean by being the light of the world? Well, this is actually the second time in the Gospel of John, which means the good news about Jesus, that these words have been used. He first uses these words back in chapter 8 when he calls himself the light of the world. He is making a huge claim, and one that would not be missed by the religious leaders at the time of Jesus. He is showing that he is completely different to those people around him. By being light, he is apart. He is separating himself and showing his difference. The world is full of darkness. People do bad things, people say bad things happen. And that is what we know. But Jesus is standing out from those things, quite literally because of who he is. Not only this, but there is a second meaning to what Jesus is saying. He says, I am. I am is a statement of God. In the Old Testament, only Jews would refer to God as I am. So Jesus is basically saying in this passage, I am God, which is a huge statement to make and upset the Jewish leaders at the time. But it is a true statement because Jesus really is who he says he is. But not only that, but he says, I am the light. That means that he is the only light. He's not a light, he is the light. He is the only one who can come into the world and save the world from that darkness that we are in, and he can lead us home. But secondly, Jesus being the light of the world has an impact for you and me. Again, in that chapter 8, Jesus says, He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. So, what does that actually mean to us? Well, it is an amazing promise to people. Jesus is saying that he will be with us. The light separates us from the darkness. Now, the darkness is things that are bad for us. It's the wrong things we've done, it's the wrong things that we've said. All of us have done things that are wrong. We call it our sin, and it separates us from a relationship with God. But here, Jesus says if we are following him, he will take that sin away from us, and we will be forgiven, and we will become light. We will walk in the light. We will be with God forever. The healing of the blind man's sight can happen to us as well. And when we see who Jesus really is, when he says he is the light of the world, then our lives change. It is a life-changing experience. So if we ask him into our lives, we can actually live with God eternally. So what should we do as a result of hearing this? Well, we should be drawn to that light. We should be drawn to the light of the world, because in Jesus we find our hope, we find our rest, and we find our joy. But outside of a relationship with Jesus is the darkness where we don't experience that joy of a relationship with a God who wants us to be in a right relationship with him. So there are two choices for you. You can either choose to follow the light of the world, that is Jesus, who forgives you for everything that's ever happened and wants you to be in an eternal relationship with him. Or you can choose to ignore that and go your own way and sort of stumble in the darkness without that hope that comes from knowing Jesus. The choice is yours to make. On screen now, there's going to be a series of different questions for you to look at, have a think about, and chat to each other on our Facebook page at the link below.
Today for the prayers we will be doing finger prayers. First we use our thumb. With our thumbs we will pray for those who are closest to us, such as our family and friends. For our first finger we will pray for our shark leaders and the whole Peace Mission team. For our middle finger we will pray for our government and those who have authority in our society. Next we will pray for those who are sick and weak, as our ring finger is our weakest finger. And finally we will use our little finger to pray for ourselves and our own needs.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's Shark session. We hope you've really enjoyed what we've put on for you today. Don't forget, tonight at 4 o'clock is our family night. So bring your friends, bring your families, bring your animals, and they can participate. It will be great to have as many of you as possible at that quiz. And then tomorrow we have another one of these pre-recorded sessions, and then our live Zoom at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. We look forward to seeing you there. Take care. Bye-bye for now.